Hello, everyone. It is so good to be here tonight. Welcome back to our regularly scheduled Tuesday night live lipedema wellness conversations with Gail. That would be me and friends. And our friend tonight is Adie MacKenzie. And before I introduce you to Adie, I want you to take a few moments in the chat or in the comments. You can put where you're from. I see Marilise here from Washington State. There's a few more on. Just put where you're from so we can see you. Please feel free to ask any questions. We are not necessarily going to answer all of them if we get too many, but we will answer what we can, or maybe steer you in the direction to where you can find your answers. So with that said, I want to welcome Adie MacKenzie. She is a coach with Lipedema Simplified, and she's been working with us for almost 2 years.
It's amazing.
And it blows her mind. She just does. It's been a really good 2 years. And not only that, is Adie has taught classes for us. We call them C6, Coaching Special Interest Groups, and she's taught some of that. She presents, she does coaching corners, and so every chance we get Adie here to visit with you. And with that said, Adie, would you like to expand on my introduction of you?
Yeah. So I'm just going to apologize for my crazy background that keeps changing, and my teeth are like getting green from trying to have a green screen. But if you could see the room I'm in, it's just too much of a mess. I'd rather have the beautiful skyline of Philadelphia behind me from the National Lymphedema Network conference last week, which I attended along with many of our participants. And Leslyn was there and Catherine was there. And I got to finally give Catherine a hug in person for the first time. So exciting. But anyway, I am a physical therapist assistant and worked at Vanderbilt Medical Center for a long time. And then I'm also a licensed massage therapist, and that's been true for over 40 years. I'm a certified lymphedema therapist, and I have the advanced qualification through LANA, Lymphology Association of North America, and not listed because we just need to put the whole alphabet up there, is that I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. And I've been really enjoying coaching with Lipedema Simplified and with the other clients I get to work with.
Yeah. So for those of you who have always wondered what all these letters are following people's names, that some of them are the same letters. I mean, they're the same pattern of letters. I mean, we only have 26 here in the United States. We only have 26 letters, but so Adie just explained what the letters following her names represent. So the PTA stands for Physical Therapy Assistant.
Therapist assistant.
Therapist assistant.
Just to be official.
Oh, okay. And the LMT stands for lymphatic massage therapist, licensed massage therapist.
Licensed massage therapist.
CLT stands for certified lymphatic therapist, with the LANA, LANA, which is an advanced level of training. It's an association of advanced
proof of qualification. It's a test, basically. Okay. And it's an organization that attempts to assure that a certified lymphatic therapist has experience and clinical judgment to be able to add this qualification.
Right. And I know that we've had other people on who have, like Lana, like Leslyn, it says Lana after her name as well. And so, if you ever see these letters and you go, yeah, what does that mean? For goodness sakes, reach out to one of us and say, what is that letter? What does that little structure of letters mean? Because it might help you decide whether or not you want to approach this person for coaching or consulting, or whatever, have them come on to one of your programs if you do a podcast or a video cast. which is what I'm starting to call this is my video cast. I guess some people might call it a vodcast, but vodcast is too close to vodka, and I don't have any. So, so we're calling it a video cast. So, Adie, you said that you went to NLN.
Yeah.
What was NLN?
So that's the National Lymphedema Network, which is another organization that attempts to provide advanced education and presentation of research to therapists. They've been doing it annually lately. When I joined, it was every other year. But it's an incredibly intensive conference. And this year we had, as always, tons of information about lymphatic therapy, wellness practices for patient and therapist, surgical techniques and how those work and what some of the advancements are, the central lymphatic dysfunction that I know people who've been following Lipedema Simplified have heard about, and that we've tried to share through the company I work for, which I guess I should give my disclosure that I also work for a pump company called Eros Medical. And there were just numerous topics that were important, and my brain exploded at a certain point, and I had to just go rest because I couldn't absorb any more information. But
Right.
it's always really a meaningful experience.
And that was held in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yes. And the wonderful thing about it is it was driving distance for Catherine. And so Catherine, even though Catherine doesn't travel a lot right now due to her health issues, she was able to go and present. And
Yes.
it's been quite a while since she's able to present in person in public, right? And Leslyn was there too. And
Yes.
she was able to present. You were there. Did you present or were you an attendee?
I was an attendee and a exhibitor, I guess is what they call us when I'm there with my company. But I'm so fortunate that they, they appreciate me coming to these conferences and getting educated. And Kelly Stroom, who is our other, and I'm probably mispronouncing her last name, but she is the cancer rehab PT on YouTube, and she is fantastic. And she was also there. So Philadelphia is the city that's closest to the home of our company. They're basically in a suburban area of Philly. And so getting the whole team together was incredible.
Wow.
And I've never been there before. So it was really a fantastic event.
That's cool. And you said that there were people from our community there. I know that Blanche Pepitone was there. I saw a picture of her with Leslyn. Our Blanche. And who else was there? There was one other I thought was there. But
I'm not going to name names because I'm overwhelmed. I guess my brain exploded, but I know I was talking to people who said they were part of Lipedema Simplified.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And while that was going on with you guys, we had a group of three, Dr. Carmody, Lisa Dury, and Siobhan Huggins were all over at the Lipedema World Congress in Germany, in Potsdam, Germany. Okay. It was a big weekend. Not this weekend. It was it? It was last week.
Yeah.
No, it ended on Friday. So it was this past weekend.
It was going on partly during the NLN, and then the NLN continued after they ended.
Yeah. Now, are you at home now?
Yeah.
And you're in Nashville?
Yes.
Nashville. Yeah. So it's great that you got to travel up there and hang out with, like you say, with your team and with people from Lipedema Simplified. And so if anybody gets a chance that you haven't been able to see our Instagram, our Facebook, let's see what else do we have? Twitter, we have LinkedIn, we have Pinterest. Check it out, because all of us who were busy the last weekend were on there. And Adie's there with Catherine and Leslyn, and they took a little video, and it was great to see you guys all together. So now that our weekend is over, let's move on to the week. One of the things that we talk about all the time is coaching. And Adie's a coach. She's also she's an instructor, facilitator, and as you can see, she has quite a few accreditations and certifications hanging out behind her name. And Adie, being a coach, what's one of the hardest things that you deal with as a coach?
Well, I think a lot of times clarifying what coaching is and what it is not is difficult, because often people will contact a coach looking for education and advice, but not really being interested in the ongoing relationship that coaching is intended to provide in goal setting, visioning, accountability and support, unconditional support, all of which is fine. I mean, expert education and consulting is a beautiful thing, perfectly valid, very worthwhile. I love doing that. It's really easy to be an expert when you are an expert. It's easy for me to tell you what I think you should do. It's harder for me to elicit from someone who wants to engage in that coaching relationship what their vision of their best self is and what their long-term well-being goal might be. And so I think that clarification and then really being clear on what our relationship is intended to be is difficult.
Yeah. So if I were to come to you for coaching, how would you start that coaching process with me?
One of the things that we'd start with is looking at your current health status, so that we would make sure that we understand where you are. And then the next thing that we would do is identify where you want to be, and what you have done in the past that has been successful. We really, in coaching, the way that I was trained to be a national board certified health and wellness coach, mouthful, is really, it's a positive psychology standpoint. We don't talk about what doesn't work. We talk about what does work. We set goals that we feel that we can attain. And that's really important, because people need to have that sense of mastery. They need to be able to take baby steps towards something that they want to achieve, especially if you're really trying to make a behavior change that's challenging to you. If you're trying to do something that seems attainable and easy, you probably don't need a coach for that. But if you're looking at something that you find challenging, then it's really important to be able to acknowledge your wins along the way, and to simply understand if something doesn't work the way you wanted it to, where the problems were, where were the things that got in the way of your achievement, and how can we reframe it so that it can be achievable in the future.
So if there is a treatment that I want to incorporate into my daily routine, but I'm having a difficult time doing it, like let's say just dry brushing, and I want to be able to incorporate it, but I'm all dressed every day. Oops, I forgot to dry brush. And then I get done at the end of the day and I'm climbing into bed and oops, I forgot to dry brush. That doesn't mean dry brushing doesn't work for me. It means I need to analyze where I can fit it into my life to become part of my routine, my schedule, my daily care. And that's where you would come to play, by helping me look at all that as a coach, and then helping me, maybe it doesn't fit in my morning for some reason, but it fits better in my evening or something like that. And you can help me see what to hook it to, how to take that particular habit and hook it to something so it becomes part of my normal routine and stuff like that. So
that's one thing that could happen. Another thing is that we could, explore that a little more and determine that really dry brushing doesn't really turn you on. You're not that interested. So what else could you do to achieve similar effects? Why do you want to dry brush? What about it is appealing to you or not? And then what else can you do to incorporate self-care that is going to give you some of the benefits of that?
So you really help your clients break things down and come to terms maybe without the guilt,
Yeah,
without me climbing into bed every night going, I didn't dry brush again tomorrow. I didn't dry brush.
yeah,
Instead of beating myself up, you help me take a look at what I can do to be successful with what I can do, right?
that's right.
What I can find, my, like you say, what touches my heart to be able to do and say, oh yeah, I like this, and
Yes.
this is now, I can do this. I can emotionally and physically do those things. So really, so that's a coach. Then what's a consultant?
A consultant would be more like you came to me and said, I don't know how to take care of my lymphatic dysfunction, and I need you to tell me what to do. And it might start at the beginning with there are things you would benefit from by like seeing a therapist who can give you manual lymph drainage, or you don't have that available to you. I'm going to advise that perhaps a pump with proper training to use it appropriately could be useful to you. I might advise you as a consultant on the use of compression garments, or you might want to talk about some of the activities that are shown to be helpful for lymphedema or lipedema, excuse me.
Right.
When some of us dealing with both, but the difference between the coach and the consultant can be very subtle, because in both
Mm-hmm.
cases, it's really important to know what you want, what the patient, the consultor wants. But there's a different approach in how we share the information. If you're contacting me for consultation, you probably just want to know, like, my compression garments aren't working for me. Do you have some ideas about better ones? Here are the problems I'm experiencing with my compression garments. What can you do to help me troubleshoot those? That would be a
Right.
consultant.
Okay.
In a coaching situation, it might look more like me trying to get the sense from you whether compression garments are even something that are appealing to you. And we might end up going down the same road eventually with me advising on what I think would be helpful to you. But first I need to know why isn't it working? And this really sounds like I'm talking about the same thing. I hear myself talking and I'm having a hard time clarifying the difference. But there's a significant difference. And if in the coaching situation, we might need to meet several times to work with this and to set some goals around how you're going to keep trying different things. In the expert department, it's going to be more like, I suggest you try these things. If they don't work out for you, give me a call back, but I don't necessarily expect to hear back from you.
Right. Right. It's kind of like a one and done thing, or a once in a while thing,
Yeah, I would say it's
where, yeah.
coaching would probably be, I mean, it's best done with a little more consistency, with setting
Right.
a framework for a timeline, like, every couple weeks. I think if you do coaching occasionally, it's less effective because we're talking about goal setting and attainment, and you need a certain amount of consistency for
Right.
that to be truly effective.
Right. And a lot of coaching is developing and setting our mind, well, I shouldn't say setting our mindset, but
Yeah.
developing and recognizing our mindset and maybe making some changes, strengthening our strengths and letting some of the things that aren't working, letting them go, and then having accountability. So
Yeah.
I would check in with you.
Yeah.
I'd say, hey, Adie, this is what I've been doing this week. This is where my plan's going. Look, we developed a plan,
Yeah.
and I'm finding success with this, this, and this. Yay, what's next? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What's working
So,
best for you? What's your
yeah,
best experience with what we talked about last time? And what's up for you that you want to address in the next period of time before we speak again?
right, right. And coaching I think, is extraordinarily valuable to the person who is open to it and wants it and feels like they need it. Consulting is that, well, I'm out here by myself and I think I got this handled. I just have this question I need answered.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and both are valid.
Mm-hmm.
And because education is tremendous. One of the things we do have to remember is both things, um, that our coaches are well trained. Their time, their knowledge, that's for us, and it's not work, right? Like when you're talking to me as a coach, you're working.
Oh yeah.
You're working, you're keeping everything going, you're working, even as a consultant. And so I find that not everybody wants to pay for answers, and that's why they use Google.
Mm-hmm. That's
Right?
right.
Right?
And there's good stuff on Google. There's
Oh
just
yeah.
also bad stuff there. And
Right.
how do you know which is reliable? So
Right. And so I know that, and so when someone says, I want to do a coaching program, it's like um, any other healthcare provider. It's worth the money to get coaching.
yeah.
So I want to welcome people. I see quite a few people here. Some I recognize their names, and others I don't. I see that Marilee's here from Chehalis, Washington. We have a Facebook user from London. Hello. Lori's here from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Fractal Beans. I know your name and I keep forgetting it, but she's from London. It's good to see you too. Mingan is from Australia. Wow, we have them all over the world.
Oh,
Kathy's
cool.
from Union, New Jersey. Winetta, hello. She's from Alaska, but she's in Beverly Hills, which I'm thinking means that she's getting ready or has just finished some surgery. I believe she goes down to California for that. Julie
Ah,
Stewart's here. She's one of um, our presenters. She's going to be one of our patient panelists at the Heart to Heart.
cool.
Judith is here from Australia. Lisa's here from Iowa. Alana, Fractal Beans. Alana is her name, and she's from London. So I'm so glad you guys are all here. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the Heart to Heart and what you're going to be doing there. Adie, the Heart to Heart, let me pull that banner up so everybody can see it. Where did it go? I know I'm back here in the back end and nobody sees things but me, and they all pretend I'm just. Okay, so our Heart to Heart event is October 27th, 28th, and 29th. That's 2 weekends from now, right? Yeah. Well,
About that.
yeah, just over 2 weeks from now. We've been doing a lot of work on it. And in the Heart to Heart, this 3-day event, we are going to have something called the Coach's Corner. And the Coach's Corner is for you to make connections. So let's say you see Adie here, but you don't get to get in there and dig around with her face to face, right? You get to write your questions in the comments, and I get to push them up on the board if you want. But if you want to actually talk to her, and with maybe a couple other people, and you have a discussion with her, she's going to be in the Coach's Corner on Saturday. That would be the 28th. It's going to be in the morning section before noon Eastern. And so she's going to be there with a couple other coaches, and you get to go in and you get to visit with her. And what Adie will do, she won't give you a consultation and she won't give you coaching, but she will give you a hint on what it might look like for you personally, right? You could ask her questions. She probably, she's not a doctor, so she can't talk about meds, or she's not a nutritionist. She's not going to talk about nutrition. She's a lymphatic therapist, a physical therapist assistant. We saw all the things, massage therapists. We saw the things that she has hanging around behind her name. And but she can be there to help you decide whether or not you want a consultation or whether or not you really want coaching, and if you want coaching with her. And so but she's also there to give you some loving. Right? I mean, you might say, well, yeah, I need this, and this. And Adie will say, okay, let's step back and tell me again what you need. Because sometimes we're just in that frame of mind. So, but that's the heart to heart. It's the 27th, 28th, and 29th. And I'm going to post the link. If you have not registered for that yet, I'm going to post the link in the comments right now so that you can register. Um, like I say, it's a 3-day event. I am thrilled beyond belief to let you know that Dr. Stanley Roxon is our keynote speaker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right.
Dr.
So,
Rockstar. I love him.
right. So, Adie knows Dr. Roxon.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, and he's going to be our keynote speaker. And when you think about in the heart to heart, we actually get to talk to people, we get to interact with people, and when you think about that, think about what's like 80. What is the last convention or conference that you went to that you actually got to talk to people?
Oh, well, NLN.
Last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is similar. We're trying to make it similar to a live conference, like in-person conference, but to be able to reach the whole entire community. We do this virtually, and we've tried to bring in some of the biggest names, some of the the rock stars, like Dr. Stanley Roxon. He's a rock star. To come and not just share like a pre-recorded video.
Yeah.
Right. They're talking to you. You're there with them. You get to discuss what they talked about with other people and come back. You get to ask them questions. And we don't get to do that very often virtually. But we started doing this a couple of years ago, and we have found that our community loves it.
Yeah.
So many of us might be housebound, or we might just not be able to travel, right? Travel is not easy for whatever reason, schedule, financial,
Hey, it's
not
not
able to get in
easy
an
under the
airplane.
best of circumstances.
Ah,
It's hard. It's exhausting.
it is. It is. And so that's why we continue to hold our events virtually. We do a couple in person, like when we did the Trivers at the Table. We did those
That was fun.
in person, right? It was all so good. And so we do get to do those sorts of things, but they seem to have to be smaller groups and in spots rather than one big conference. So that's coming up. And one more thing I need to talk about that's coming up is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We have a free pain clinic with Brian Hayward. He's going to talk about possibility of using CBD as a pain treatment. And I'm going to put the webinar link in the comments as well. We find that if you sign up for these free webinars, you will get a link for the replay if you're not able to attend. The heart to heart, on the other hand, you have to upgrade to be able to get the replays to a VIP status, and that can really be valuable. So, but the free clinics, you will get the replay if you're not able to attend in person. So the free clinic is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. I will not be there. Catherine will be running that. I think someone will be running it. I will be in an airplane. As you can tell, but if you've been here before, you know this is not my background. I am in Virginia, so I'm on the East Coast right now, and I'm heading home tomorrow. And so back to Idaho. And so that's neither here nor there, but there's a few people out there like Lynetta and Julie Rosa and those places who kind of like to know what's up with me. They like to know where I'm hanging out. They keep track. Okay, so let's see. Adie, what's another topic that you find interesting about what you do?
Oh, well, I mean, the NLN is still on my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was so much fascinating information that was shared. I know I don't need to tell you that there's a huge controversy going on in the world of lipedema right now about whether or not there is essential lymphatic dysfunction in
Oh, yeah.
the condition. And so that was discussed at both of the conferences I've been to recently. Some people talk about it in a kind and polite way, and some people are a little more confrontational. And so that's interesting. But I think that there's it's fascinating from a therapist perspective to see that this conflict in science and how we identify some of the structural components of the diagnosis are being debated, when I know that every person with a lipedema diagnosis who's ever been on my massage table has had episodes of swelling. And even people who have, you know, a quote unquote normal healthy system have
Mm-hmm.
episodes of edema. So trying to drill into that, I think, is a healthy thing. Trying to understand what is the lymphatic component, and what are the reasons that we have pain. What are the reasons that we have, you know, a tendency to put on weight. What are the components of that that we can actually identify, are very important to be debated. So I think these differences of opinion can be informative, especially when they are presented politely and with respect for all people. And I think that I'm extremely eager to hear more from Potsdam, because I think that the German conference is going to be very helpful in putting together some of the differences in the scientific approach that's being taken in the United States and that in some of the other parts of the world.
Right. And with Potsdam, they had patient representatives from all over the world, and
Yeah.
they had a great panel and discussion. I want to show you something that Winnie says. She says
Yeah.
this is where she talks about the compression, which would be dealing with the lymphatic function, or at least the circulation or whatever. The only time I'm able to burn fat is when I consistently wear medical grade compression.
Isn't that fascinating? And she's talking about medical grade. She's not talking about the Cisalis and
No.
Bioflex garments, which are not medical grade and still quite beneficial to many people. Medical grade, excuse me, would be 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50,
Yeah.
potentially custom compression wear. That's fascinating, Winnie. I hadn't heard anybody say that before.
Right. Well, and one of the things that I would think about, because I've heard Leslie's presentations and Siobhan's
Mm-hmm.
presentations, when they start talking about connective tissue,
Mm-hmm.
and when they talk about how it seems like lipedema is, for some reason, the fat gets gets inflamed, or inflammation around it, which would be a lymphatic situation, right? Too much fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, it's getting the fibrotic tissue. You know, it builds fibrotic tissue for whatever reason. Lymphedema, it's like now we have a definite lymphatic issue, and we get to the same, almost the same place, just by two different directions. One's coming this way and one's coming this way. And when Leslin explains it, I'm like, oh, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Right. And when we think about the lymphatic system, is there, and one of its sweet little jobs is to make sure nutrients get to our cells.
Yep.
Right. Well, if it's sluggish, if it's blocked somewhere, if it's flowing too fast, whatever it's doing that is its disorder, that's going to affect our fat cells.
So our cells could be starving, or the other factor with our lymphatic system is it helps to remove waste. from
Right.
around our cells, cellular debris that is excreted and needs to be picked up and circulated back out. And if you can imagine living in a dirty environment, you might get pretty uncomfortable. So
Right.
there's all kinds of reasons. I mean, I see the edema issue in my patients all the time. And I did a paper last year for a different conference in Italy on Ehlers-Danlos about a client who has lipedema and Ehlers-Danlos, and just the way that we discovered all of her diagnoses and what helps her. But, you know, that's a connective tissue disorder. And we often see there being patients who have these diagnoses in tandem. And I think we're just at the cusp. I don't think we really understand the entire, you know, parthenogenesis, I think is how they say that, the exact way that these conditions develop and occur. We do know effective treatments to help at least mitigate some of the symptoms. And that's
Right.
fantastic, because we can
Yeah.
keep treating. We're not going to hurt anybody by treating it.
No, that's what's so amazing.
Yeah.
If I don't have lipedema, but I'm doing manual lymph drainage, that's not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
It's just going to help me,
Yeah.
right? If I don't have lipedema, but I've decided that I'm going to not eat processed foods, that's not going to hurt me, right? I mean, there's so many, you know, if I want to watch out for foods that make me inflammatory, or, you know, maybe I want to ride my vibration plate once in a while, you know, or where, or, you know, those, everything that we do, get in the water and walk. None of that's going to hurt me,
Yeah.
right? It's just going to make, whether I have lipedema, lymphedema, Ehlers-Danlos, all those things, I can treat it very similarly. And even if I don't have it.
That's right.
So, you know, that's the beauty of all the things that we're learning, and the promotion, all the stuff that we do with Lipedema Simplified is, even if you don't have a diagnosis,
Yeah.
give something a try.
Yeah.
What can you do today? Right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's,
And yeah.
it's all about quality of life. I mean, it's about health, and we generally don't have a great quality of life if we don't have our health. But
Right.
what can we do to maximize what's possible? What can we do to live our best life today? And I think that, I mean, you know, I have lymphedema because I'm a breast cancer survivor. So I have lymphedema. It's very mild in my left arm. But I often wear compression on other parts of my body.
Hold on, the auto lights just went off because I wasn't wiggling around enough. Oh my
I thought
gosh.
maybe it was like Halloween early in your place there.
No.
And I'm sorry, I keep smiling and I see that my teeth look green, so it's Halloween here.
It's Halloween. Sorry about that. It's like I'm sitting here and all the lights go off. The first time it happened, I thought I had a power outage.
Yeah.
It's just I hadn't moved around enough. Sorry.
That's funny.
So let's see. I found a couple more people out here. I just want to greet them. Sally Rose is from Australia. Winnie's from Hawaii. And let's see who else is here. Our Winetta calls us Stan's fangirl.
Yeah,
right.
I love that.
Yeah. And then Sharon's here from Canada. And so everybody's from all over the world. Yeah. I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming tonight, this morning, whatever time of the day it is for you. I don't see any Europeans on here, probably because it's a bit in the middle of the night. But thank you guys so much for coming. I usually end the broadcast by asking my guest to share one thought, one message that they would like to see echoed around the world. So, Adie, what would that be? What is one thought that our audience can hang on to tonight that you would love everyone to think about?
I would say you know, you always ask this and I should always be prepared, but there was a presentation at the conference called How to Be Heard Without Screaming, and I didn't attend it, but I had such a great sense of appreciating contradictory information to what I believe when I heard it spoken in a polite and respectful way. So I would say let's all, you know, just be kind to each other and be respectful. We don't have to agree, but let's just be respectful in how we share our disagreements.
Right, right. That's a wonderful. I was actually talking to somebody about that today, how we just need to hold a safe space so that other people can share what they need to share.
Yeah.
Which means we listen. That doesn't mean we agree.
That's right.
It doesn't,
That's right.
but maybe if we listen, then we can contemplate what they had to say. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there might be a kernel there that's really useful.
Right.
And we might be heard better ourselves if we're able to, you know, radiate that gentleness and respectfulness.
And at the same time, advocate for ourselves and for our loved ones.
Yeah.
That's the way we advocate. We listen and then we speak our mind. We speak our mind. We speak our mind even if our voice is quivering, right? Even if our voice is shaken. Take a deep breath and say what you need. And I'm so glad you're here. I hope you have a wonderful night or a wonderful day if you're on the other side of the world from me. And Adie, it was my pleasure spending time with you tonight.
So nice